right, we're thinking of a player who has many skills, some would argue. I would say the strongest part of this player's game may possibly be his brain. The brain is actually covered by a head that has seen many different iterations of styles.
Calvin
that
Heimberg.
Bradley Williams.
No. Words that come to mind could be bling. For some reason, when I think of this player, I think bling.
Bling.
Flashy, maybe? Maybe not. Let's go dressed. This person is very well dressed. I would say one of the best, at least in the past, very, very clean. I
Drew
think
Gibson.
He is no. Slowly moving from polos to the classic jerseys that we all love. Let's see. This guy has battled some injuries through his career. He is a maker and shaker of the game. Prominent figure in disc golf. I don't know what else to say. Let's go with, he's not the tallest on tour. He doesn't throw the furthest on tour, but far enough. When his putt is on, it might be the best in the world.
Whoa.
He is
Paul McBeth.
at least in. Yes, you got it. I didn't know what to say anymore, and the
good.
vagueness was leaving my brain.
What got it for me was you talking about going from polos to jerseys.
Yes.
Yeah, and then the bling rounded it out for me.
The old school bling earrings, and I got inspiration by this was laying on my desk here.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember the flight
record.
Did we all get books at Huck Lab last year when we were there? I feel like.
Possibly, yes. Oh, I even have another Paul McBeth inspiration right next to it. The Paul bobblehead.
Do you guys, I don't know if this is commonly known. Actually, I would assume it is not. I wonder if you guys know how much of a idol Paul McBeth is to one Calvin Heimberg.
I mean, Paul McBeth used to live in Clearwater. I think Calvin was a youngster back then, probably.
Yep. He calls
just starting off.
He calls him Paul McBest.
Paul McBest.
And we'll be out playing practice rounds at Cliff Stevens, and he'll look at me from any random distance, and he'll just stare right at me, Calvin, and he'll be like, I'm 150 feet away from the basket. I aim dead center pole. Or that's like a classic old Paul McBeth video. Or he'll be at like a 60-footer or even a more obnoxious range, and he'll look at me and he'll be like, these are the putts you have to make if you want to win the World Championships.
Calvin's inspiration.
That's like old Paul McBeth is like my idol as well. Like if I look back at some of the old Spin TV, McBeast Diary era Paul McBeth, and I see those pearl earrings, it gives me chills.
The Mohawk.
Honestly, those earrings, the old Puma jerseys, I specifically bought looked on eBay to get old Puma jerseys so I could look like Paul McBeth, or at least like 2012 through 2015 Paul McBeth.
Yeah.
Paul McChills,
A
as I
maker and
call
a
him.
shaker, like I said.
Yeah.
It's pretty hard
Funny.
to be discreet about describing Paul McBeth, so you did a great job getting that far into it without giving away like the most obvious ways we could guess him.
Yeah. I guess when I started noticing Paul, he was still kind of an underdog. And I remember his first win in Europe. He won the Tali Open, I think we called it back then, the Helsinki tournament. And all the Americans were laughing at the prize money payout. I think first place got like 600 euros or something. And I think Paul was very upset that was the first big tournament he's won in Europe, and it was only 600 euros. Something along those lines. But yeah, Paul McBeth, when I was like starting to be good, wasn't the guy yet. Kind of shocking. It was Shoestrick.
Shoestrick
Nico.
was the guy.
Nico, too.
Mm-hmm.
Was that like post, like Felberg and Avery were just kind of on the backside of the peak, and Nico and Will were like the top guys right there?
Felberg was around for another while. Avery kind of was doing more into his clinics and stuff at that point already. Obviously still competed, but not really at the super top level. And Nate Doss was still around. Didn't play as much, obviously, but yeah, Shoestrick and Nico, I think, like 2009, 10, 11 were the guys to beat.
Yeah.
Classic.
Well, welcome back, everyone, to episode, I think, 38 of
Who's counting?
the Crushed Pepper Pod. We're here on the off week between the first two events of the season. I am checking in from Pensacola, Florida. Eagle, we already know where you are. And Simon, it looks like you're home.
I'm home. We made it.
Eagle, did you keep the same place for 2 weeks?
I did. It's actually very nice to get done with a tournament and not feel like you have to rush out of there as quick as possible. Yesterday, I actually did close to nothing, and that was purposeful. And it was tremendous because I've been going nonstop for like 4 weeks now. So I needed a day just to take some deep breaths and then also get some emails from my accountant to need to do a bunch of annoying tax stuff. So
You know
it was mostly a very relaxing day until the email came in at 6:30 p.m.
It's a lot nicer to do taxes when you don't have any money. That's just a recommendation to our listeners out there. If you want to have less tax headaches, just make less money.
Pro tip, guys.
Pro
You heard
tip.
it here first.
I don't pay taxes. I haven't paid taxes in
Joey's
3
in a
years.
That's Joey's best financial tip.
Not out of a choice.
Unsolicited advice.
I'd like to say I'm not paying taxes.
You're
out of
filing
choice.
taxes.
I have so many expenses that it outweighs the profit and the income that I'm making. So,
Operating at a loss.
yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So, well, I'd just like to briefly hear from both of you about your weeks in your tournament week in Florida. Whatever you'd like to tell us, whether it's about your performance, whether it's about off the course stuff. You both were high up on the leaderboard during parts of the tournament, and I feel like you both had stretches of the tournament where you felt good about your game. But I'd like to hear from you guys.
Do you want to go first?
I really want to go first.
Yeah, you can go first.
Okay, for me, it was an extremely challenging week physically, unfortunately. And mentally, I did very well, minus really the last 3 holes. But yeah, leading up to it, I obviously felt very prepared. I think I had 10 days of warm-up, which has never been done or seen before. So it was awesome to learn some new discs. It was awesome to just feel like kind of comfortable in throwing discs again, and felt like kind of I knew what I was doing. And yeah, started off the tournament with the classic feeling of a weather delay, which hit me basically right in the middle of my warm-up before my tee time. So then my tee time got pushed back an hour and a half-ish. So then you got to kind of like go to the car, kind of refocus, and then re-warm up again. So that's always a kind of a weird feeling, but I ended up starting off pretty nice, feeling in control. I made a couple bogeys out there that were really unnecessary, but wasn't bothered whatsoever by them, even though they were kind of unfortunate, I have to say that, just because it felt a little that way. Ended off not finishing that round. It was too dark to throw as we were approaching hole 17's fairway. So we had to get up at 6:30 in the morning the next day to tee off at 7:30 in the morning to finish 1.5 holes, which again is just that awesome we're back feeling. Ended up actually finishing a pretty nice round at 7 under. I think I talked to Paul before the tournament, and he said averaging 7.5 under should do it for the win. Ended up not being true, but that was kind of my goal, that 7 to 8 under range. That was my goal without actually having a goal. I'll put it like that. And then, all good, went to bed that day feeling pretty good, was on lead card. Woke up the next morning. Oh, wait, no. There was no next morning. This is the same day. We finished round 1. Then I had like a 5-hour break. Before those 2 holes, actually, I had like a crazy...
Oh!
I knew this was not going to hold. Wow, this is a failed podcast attempt already.
There's only learning. There's no failure.
Okay, this is going to fall again in about 10 minutes, but that's it. Okay. I had like a weird like belly cramps, and I had to like, without getting too graphic here, like sprint to the bathroom a couple times. And then in my break between the 2 rounds, I got so sick, like I thought I was getting a fever. I was feeling nauseous. The toilet runs continued. I was like, I can't play. I was like, this is not possible. Like, it's not possible. Like, it's too miserable. But Natalia ran to CVS for me and got me all the good stuff. I managed to get up. Natalia's cousin actually came up from Tampa to caddy for me, and he has never played disc golf, never watched disc golf, has no disc golf experience whatsoever. So I had a complete newbie on the bag that round, because if I had to carry my own bag that round, I don't think I would have physically been able to do it on that track. I was that miserable. And warming up before that round, like every time I like twisted my torso, it felt like my stomach was just going to like rip out of my belly. It was just miserable, but powered through it. It was a crazy experience on a lead card with someone who has no idea what's going on. So that was a whole different challenge in and of itself. At the same time, feeling super sick. Made it through the round, shot a 2 under somehow, just not throwing great shots, but kind of like... This course is weird because you can throw like good shots and just get screwed, or you can kind of throw like meh shots and kind of get away with it. Or you can have a miserable time. It kind of just depends on your luck. But I was kind of just like squeaking through with pars and getting a couple birdies, a couple bogeys here and there. All good. Then I get up. Oh, what happened then was after the round, my elbow started hurting so bad, because usually my whole body, my whole thing is when I'm out there is trying to not have my elbow hurt, because my elbow is like infinitely injured forever. And it's just never going to be good. So my whole body just basically protects my elbow every throw. And I was so miserable that my body couldn't protect my elbow. And it was miserable pain. I could like barely move my arm after the round. The next morning was a tiny bit better, but I had to run to Dick's to buy an arm sleeve. And it was just not great. And I mean, this course, when you're not feeling confident in your body's capability of throwing pain-free, it is not the course you want to feel that on, because anything offline can literally just go anywhere on this whole property. And I wasn't throwing good shots. I couldn't commit to my lines. I couldn't even commit to my freaking run-up, it felt like. It was just all a battle. But I somehow again just kind of made it work. My putting the whole weekend was kind of decent-ish. And I freaking eagled. I actually bullseye eagled hole 15. I think those were my only two like good throws the whole round. And then I checked scores, and I was sitting in a tie for 7th, which kind of surprised me because I felt like I didn't play well enough to be tied for 7th. And like there was room for improvement there. Like 5th place was I think only a stroke or two away. So I was like, okay, come on, let's finish strong now, and it'll be really successful. And then I peered my tee shot on 16. Like you couldn't place it any better. Like it was the perfect shot, and like unmissable to birdie from there basically. And then I whiffed it, my upshot into the first tree, and that broke me. I don't even know why. It's like the silliest little mistake. And I've made way worse mistakes in earlier rounds and even that round prior, but that shot killed me and my momentum, and then I finished
Soul
bogey.
crusher.
I hate to say it, but it crushed my soul. Which is kind of a theme. I had that a lot last year too, where like the big mistakes don't bother me, but if I mess up something like just a simple little thing, even if it doesn't even result in a bogey, just like a par, like it can like throw me so off my mental rhythm. Anyway, and then I tried to force issues on the next 2 holes and got punished and went bogey to drop all the way to 19th. So, bit of a sucky finish, but all in all, it was just a tough weekend. Also, my kids were with me the whole week, which also is not really ideal for a tournament week. Tough start. Not really what I was visualizing for this week, but got through it. All in all, I guess the top 20 is acceptable, but I'm super excited for next week to hopefully have an easier time and be kids free. That was my quick version. Now, Eagle, your long version.
Well, I could say that it definitely had some parallels. I can't say I was running to the restroom as much as you were. I think there was actually some weird bug going on, because didn't Albert not finish because of something similar?
Food poisoning.
Food poisoning. Did you eat at the same place?
We did, and we ate the same thing.
Oh my gosh.
But that
Do
was
you
like
want-
it. That was a day and a half prior, and I don't think food poisoning takes that long.
Ooh, I wouldn't put it past chemicals in your stomach. I don't know. I'm not a doctor.
Well, the weirdest thing was that, I mean, I did take a lot of medicine, but mine like only lasted 1 day. Like I was horrible for 1 day, and then it kind of just went away.
And then it was just the elbow pain.
Yeah, I mean, my stomach was still definitely not perfect, but I didn't feel like I couldn't play.
That would lead me to believe that food poisoning might have been the cause. But I mean, you're right. The day and a half delay after you eat, that's the only part of it that doesn't line up.
Yeah, we ate at the Florida Cracker, and we ate a shrimp po' boy. So it
Nice.
could, and we ate fried gator tail. So maybe that's what it was.
It sounds like you're supposed to be in the bathroom.
And here comes the details that we were missing. All right, Eagle.
Well, I have tried to mentally package this past week as a positive, because there was so much more positive than negative. I threw a lot of, or let me rephrase that. I threw a lot of shots that worked out. I had great fan interactions. We did the Jomez practice round. We did the podcast with Jeff Brick. That was legendary. Great. I was really a big fan of Jeff on the podcast. Then did a video with Eric Oakley as well. So I was getting a lot of stuff done, doing my thing here in Florida, and basically just going according to a good schedule. Play 2 pretty decent rounds. The rain round was it was brutal. I am trying to be a cart guy, and I quickly learned that a cart in the rain seems like a good idea, but with like trying to bend over and have an umbrella in your hand, the water just ran right down my pants, and my butt was so soaked. Like, it was unbelievably soaked. And luckily, I felt like I got bailed out when they blew the horn because I needed a reset. If I had to go on in those conditions, I was on hole 4. I think I would have been toast. I would have been soggy toast. There was no way I could have done it. Like, it rained so hard for a period of time where the towels in my bag that were zipped up were soaked. So
I don't think
was
rain is the right word for what that
No.
was.
No.
It was like torrential. Is that the word?
it was
Downpour.
it was a flood coming out of the sky.
That was unbelievable.
It was such an of course moment. Like, oh, welcome to the tour, first round back, and I was like trying to be happy about it, and it was frustrating because I felt like my throws were coming out so clean that day, and yeah, I didn't think we were going to finish that round, but we got back on the course, and I was able to truck along and finish at 5 under, which ended up being a pretty solid round for the course in general, and especially for the rain round. Then going into day 2, played with Gannon, played with Chris Dickerson, and one other guy, Isaac Robinson. Played a solid round there as well. I was 6 under, and then got to hole 16, and I took a double bogey, and that was a bit of a soul crusher.
I did
Very
the same thing.
unfortunate. It was like, come on. Oh, wait, round 1. I got to say that last year, if our listeners remember, Simon got pretty unlucky on that hole. I was playing with him during that round. I believe he threw a panic. Really good flex shot out of his hand, coming in bounds, and did it hit the cameraman man
No,
or
spotter?
No,
spotter?
it hit the spotter got his heel got stuck on the OB string, and that
Yeah,
lifted
that's
the
what
OB
it was.
string, and the disc spun against the string and went backwards OB.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't have that happen to me, but I had something similar. There were spectators walking down the right side, and the spotter waved us in. And I just figured, like, I'm not going to hit him. Out of my hand, throw an overstable time lapse, flex shot, like out of my hand. It's a rocket. Flexes through the gap. I'm so happy with how it came out of my hand. Drifting right, fading back left. Absolutely nails a guy in the back about as hard as possible. Definitely coming back in bounds, but completely out of bounds. And I was like, oh my gosh. So then I had to like scramble from not a great spot. I actually saved the par. So I was happy about that, but like right in the back. I was scared. Luckily it hit him like right in the kind of the back of the shoulder, like rear delt. But if that would have hit his spine, oh my gosh, I think it would have ruptured a disc. Ruptured a disc with a disc.
You've
So-
had quite the pair of run-ins with hitting people with discs.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely. I didn't stop the tournament with him,
No.
and he actually seemed kind of stoked about it. Honestly, I never caught his name, but he did. He felt bad, and I was happy that he was okay. Because I mean, you never want to hit somebody. It's like one of the worst feelings in the world.
Yeah.
But-
Simon, do you have like your worst? Have you ever hit someone really bad with a disc?
I hit someone final round on Sunday, but it kept me inbound.
But like, do you have like a scary one? Because Eagle obviously has a scary one, and then I have one from when I was maybe 14. I hit my friend is one of my best friends too, my oldest friend, and the guy whose dad got us into disc golf. I drilled him in the back of the head from like 150 feet away, and that was pretty scary. But fortunately, he was totally fine.
I hit my dad in the head before with a 360 from like 100 feet away.
I
Luckily, I was a kid, but it was like right into his skull.
God.
yeah. My only hitting someone story actually is also my dad, and I hit him like in the glasses. Oh, it was so horrible. I was waiting at the course for him to arrive, and he's like walking up to hole one's basket. That's also our practice basket there. And I'm just like, I like hyzer my putter at him from like, let's say 100 feet as like, hey, welcome, like a catch, kind of throw and catch kind of shot. And I thought he was looking, but he like wasn't paying attention. So my putter like swings in high hyzer just straight to the face. Oh, I felt so bad. Oh, that was
What's his?
horrible.
Was it like a yelling, angry reaction, or is he not the outbursting kind of guy?
It was a silent sadness reaction
Oh
and a
man.
broken glasses and bloody face.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I guess we've all done it.
2 years ago at European Open, I wanted to warm up playing catch and Ratana. I was like, okay, let's throw this proxy back and forth. I botch a catch, and she's throwing in a bit of a headwind. So like it's coming at me, and I like go to grab the disc, and it like lifts up, and it hits me right in the lip.
Oh,
It like cut my lip so bad, like blood started to drip down, and then for the next like 2 or 3 weeks, it was probably one of the worst like mouth injuries that I've ever had in my life. I couldn't, I didn't even want to eat. I was like just wanted to drink smoothies with a straw because it hurt to chew or it hurt to even talk. Like at the European Disc Golf Festival, I was not smiling in pictures because it hurt to smile because my lip was so swollen.
Wow. I until I fractured my back last year, the only broken bone in my life was the identical scenario to you, 2019 at Golden Gate Park, playing catch with Nathan LaChance. I think if I have that right, that would be insane. And we were throwing a Thomas Gilbert DX AVR, and it air bounced and knocked half my front tooth out.
I remember this was right before Portland Open,
Yep.
right?
I had to go to Chinatown to a dentist in Chinatown in San Francisco, and I was so proud of myself because in the panic and the shock and the bleeding of the initial part, somehow I located my missing section of tooth in the grass, got it, put it in a plastic bag. I felt like some sort of forensic analyst. I was so proud. I thought they needed it for sure to reattach it. That's probably because I've watched Netflix The Package, and I've seen too many things about like fingers or other limbs getting reattached. So I just like had the little thing and I brought it in and I was so proud. And she threw it right in the trash. She's like, "We don't need this."
They just bonded it or something.
They use like porcelain or some other they made the whole material from it. So Eagle, did you want to finish your tournament recap?
Oh yeah. Well, I missed on the round 2. I missed a putt for birdie on 18, and that was another slightly soul crushing moment. But third card, tied for 9th place going into round 3, and I think this episode has to be called Skull Crushing Moments, or Soul Crushing, not Skull Crushing. I mean, they could be skull crushing as well, depending on the context. But I threw hole 1, and I swore I parked it. I was like, let's go. I finally did it. I walk up there. I'm looking for my disc, expecting it to be like within 20 feet of the basket. Never expect anything on hole 1 at Olympus. It was in the worst spot ever, and I had to pitch up for a par. And I felt like the course owed me a birdie. And then I proceeded to bogey hole 2 and just not get on the start that I would have liked. And I played with Gannon that round, as well as Sullivan Tipton. And they made me feel like such an amateur. They ended up shooting 9 down and 13 down, and I shot 1 over. So I felt like I was playing a completely different game. just the whole round was just like such a struggle. I airballed some putts within the circle. I was 1 under going into hole 18, which is the crazy thing is if I birdie 18 and like if you're a professional player and stepping up to 18, you're kind of expecting to get a birdie on it because it feels like a pretty easy hole. I didn't even get around the corner on the shot, and I had to go to the drop zone. I got a 6. So there's 3 strokes right there. 3 strokes comparatively. So if I get the birdie, I finish in the top 10, and I'm like, okay, pretty decent start to the year. Instead, 24th, and I had to like do a lot of deep breathing to keep myself in a good spot because I mean it just that the feelings, all the feelings came surging back, feelings of depression. But what I did do was I feel like I handled myself well. I went to the autograph tent, I smiled, and thought about all the good things that happened to me during the week because, overall, I think it was a very successful week. And I mean, first event of the year, Simon's phone fell off his whatever he's got it propped up on, and he said, "What a failure." That's not the right mentality. There's no failure. There's only learning, and that's how I feel now, especially going into this next weekend, Throw Down the Mountain. I played the course again today, which is a modified layout, but I know what not to do for this week. So I'm excited to get redemption, and I believe in the good things coming.
Who else is playing that?
Kevin Kiefer.
Is that your main competition?
No, there's Corey Ellis, there's Joel Freeman, there's Dallas Garber.
Yep.
And there's probably a few other guys as well. There's a very high-rated person from Clearwater that I don't think I've really heard of before. But I'm surprised there's not more people hanging around this week. I guess people wanted a GTFO.
I mean, I think City of Mobile is a pretty well-respected A tier that a lot of people like to go play. I mean, a lot of people I talked to said they were all going to play that. Yeah, the go throw at Cactus Rock is, at least at the current moment, very under-registered. Not a lot of people. I think Adam and Sullivan and maybe like 7 other MPO players right now. So, well, as far as my tournament, I think I played probably one of the worst tournaments of my life. It was unbelievable.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry.
It was
Welcome back.
It was every part of Friday, Saturday, Sunday felt like back to school in the worst way. Just like all the things you forgot that you hated. And yeah, right away starts off with the downpour. I was well into my round. I was on hole 14. And just as a reference, you guys know 14, that little pine tree kind of on the left side at the top of that little that's the pine tree you're trying to go to the right of when you're throwing your hyzer. You don't want to go straight into the sawgrass, but you don't want to go too early into those little pine bushes.
I was right behind it.
Yeah, so that's where we all huddled when the downpour started because none of us had umbrellas. We weren't told, the crazy part about the forecast for Friday and Saturday is that outside of that 15-minute little chunk, it was actually a lot less worse than anticipated, in my opinion, except for that little chunk right there. So we all huddled under, and my shot was kind of over right by the edge of the sawgrass. So I had my goat towel, for those of you who don't know, and then I had my disc and my towel and then my shirt. And I sprinted to my lie from under those trees. And the disc had 2 layers, almost 3, because I double folded the towel. By the time I got to my disc and I set up, the towel was dripping wet. My shirt was soaked, my hands were soaked, the disc was completely covered in water, and I took out the towel from under my shirt to dry it off, and it was just fully waterlogged. And my only criticism, which is it's impossible to do this perfect, but we played through 3 or 4 lightning strikes before the horn was blown. Now, we were on the farthest point of the course, but there was a spotter in the text chain who was standing like 20 feet away from us, and eventually he did blow the horn, but my group and like 3 other groups in that area, we actually just stopped playing, like everyone. Like I was next to throw, and I was just like, I'll take the penalty. Like I just saw 2 lightning strikes. I'm not playing in this. So we all just like, everyone on those 3 holes went to huddle under that VIP tent that's like right. I guess if you threw your forehand too straight on 12, you'd run into it basically. So we were all, there was like, I don't know, 25 players under there, and all of us were just like, yeah, we're not going out. And then eventually the horn got blown. But it wasn't from the rain. It was from the fact that before I even threw that shot, there was a lightning strike, and we were just sitting there waiting for like 45 seconds to a minute. Nothing happened, and I was like, well, I guess I got to go throw. And so that was brutal. I mean, for me, like, the biggest positive from the weekend is that I was able to compete without pain. The biggest issue right now for me is backhand accuracy. I suppose forehand accuracy as well. I'm just not throwing as many. Backhand accuracy is basically, I never really understood how far your neck or your head has to rotate back on your reach back. I never quite did that, and I think it's easily one of, if not the main reason why I hurt my back, is because I was trying to do a professional level reach back and pull through without actually turning my neck and eyes like even past like 90 degrees. Like I was trying to keep them looking at the gap, and once that kind of clicked in my head, like even this off season when the bones were healed, like I was still getting soreness and pain in that area throwing, and at some point like 3 or 4 weeks ago it clicked all of a sudden, and I was like, wait. And all of a sudden I started watching videos of you guys and other pros, and I'm like, dude, when these guys reach back, they kind of look down the arm, or at least they're not like looking here, right? And that's what I was doing. And so learning to do this and throw my backhand is a process that is taking a lot of trust. I've never like looked that far off my line before throwing a backhand. When I nail it, holy cow, is it the best like backhand I've ever thrown. It's like I have 2 brand new Cloudbreaker 1s that I was throwing a brand new Cloudbreaker 1 on hole 13 and full flexing it. Like I've never been able to throw that hard in my life. But the inconsistency and the lack of trust, basically I just am so unused to this new look back, basically. That's what I kept telling myself the whole weekend. You have to look away from your target for a split second. That a lot of times I wouldn't fully commit back. And I mean, that's what I was the New York Yankees. I just yanked, like I would say 50% of my backhands were pulled like 10 degrees or more off their line because I wasn't reaching back far enough. So I was just pulling a lot of stuff. My forehand I'm actually really proud with, but I'm not used to the power yet. I'm just used to like throwing more understable discs and getting similar results. And my goodness, I had a forehand on 18 that I was throwing that I was trying to do that kind of straight out hyzer to the far right landing zone, and I just like blasted it straight OB long without like ever like fading out. It just like flipped up, and I mean I've just never seen forehands come out of my hand like that. So it was extremely frustrating. My only proud moments are that I birdied hole 1 with a backhand fairway driver the last 2 rounds, both inside like 20 feet. So I was really happy with that shot.
Wow.
I executed hole 2's tee shot perfectly every time and didn't birdie a single time from any of those spots. I threw that V3 balance that you gave me on hole 4. It's the best tee shot I've ever seen anyone throw. If you know those 2 trees on the right side that are right up against the barbed wire that like kind of mark the front end of that good landing zone, I was 30 feet past with a mid-range. I could see the basket on my upshot. Did
you get the bird?
No. I yanked it straight into the right side. So there was a lot of that. The round 3 was just I mean, the round 3, everything just kind of unraveled. I think I did a good job of like keeping my head in it, and certainly looking at a lot of this as like still shaking rust off. Like, yes, I've been throwing for 3 months, and yes, I've been doing accuracy stuff, but it's just back to school. And so, but the third round, I certainly like, I was down in the dumps. It was not fun. Yeah, dude, I cried in my car for a couple hours after. There was just like a lot of emotion around like, I mean, dude, I shot 14 over the final round, like 925. I mean, I went into that round at 14 over and I doubled it. So, yeah, it was rough to watch, and it was extremely demoralizing to have such little faith in a throw that for the past 10 years has been like the backbone of my game. But there was a lot of moments of if I was actively remembering to do those things, like the things would work. Like there were lots of good shots. The third round, I think, really broke me because of something that Simon mentioned, which is on a course like that, it's probably better to be way off than a little bit off. And so I either had big shanks or I would have like a barely miss, which, I mean, my favorite example was hole 11. I played with Alden Harris the final round. He shot like 6 or 7 down. And I threw the backhand, and I threw it about 5 inches too high, clipped the ceiling, dropped straight down about 100 feet off the tee. But outside of being 5 inches too high, I did everything perfect. And then Alden threw a forehand, and he shanked his forehand so bad that he hit the gap 2 gaps over, or 1 gap over. And he shanked it so bad that he hit that and got all the way to the landing zone and birdied. And I had one of the unluckier holes of my life, which included like 100+ foot rollaway and a spit out, and I took a quad bogey off of. But if you just looked at the first like split second of both of our tee shots, like out of our hand, like I would take mine 10 times out of 10 over his based on the initial feeling. So the lack of skill combined with some of those, like some of my good shots being not perfect, but good and feeling good, and then getting not great results. Yeah, that really crushed me the final round. But I'm going to be, I was using those visionary disc golf nets a lot in the warm-up area. I think that's actually going to be really important for me working on forehand and backhand, because that little square is like exactly how I feel like I should be visualizing my aim spots when I'm out, like a little bubble like that. Like that's kind of what you're trying to hit. Wherever you're throwing your shots, you're trying to hit a little window like that. So I actually reached out to them, and they are express shipping me a net to New Orleans, and I'm going to be doing a lot of network. I actually pulled out of the Cactus Rock event this weekend, and just going to do a lot of accuracy work. So a couple days removed, I'm feeling fine. I'm happy that my body held up. I wanted to do an interesting little question for you guys that I want to do going forward in this tournament, or in this season for each tournament, which is name one person across the 3 rounds that you played with that impressed you. And it could be someone that we all know, or it could be someone that we don't know. And I will start. I played with Chandler Kramer the first round in the rain. We got the worst of it. It was not in the warm-up. It was in the meat of our round right before the finishing brutal holes. And outside of, I don't know, 4 tee shots, 5 tee shots, it is not a forehand course at all. And Chandler made that quite clear in his posts, as he even didn't sign up because it was such an anti-forehand course. He didn't even sign up for the tournament. And then somehow got convinced to sign up for Monday qualifying, and he qualified on Monday. And then, yeah, he shot with 1 bogey. He shot a 6 under round 1, and half of that was in the downpour. And my goodness, was I impressed. I always love playing with Chandler. When the vibes are good, he's one of my favorite people to be on the card with. He has one of the biggest hearts on tour. But I mean, when you have a big heart on tour, that means that when it's going bad, it might not also be pretty. And I say that for myself as well. But when it's good, they're awesome to be around. And Chandler not only has a great personality, but wow, is it fun watching him throw tee shots on what would be backhand hyzer holes for us. He outdrove our entire card on hole 14 with a forehand odyssey, which is a disc that you can buy. It's an overmold gateway. You can buy
What?
it.
He throws that disc?
He threw a forehand Odyssey, and he was across that little ditch with a forehand Odyssey. It was one of the most disgusting shots I've ever seen in my life. So that's my player, Chandler Kramer. He shot 6 under, and he made it onto the lead card, played a really great weekend. So that's the guy that I played with that I was impressed with.
I was impressed with Gannon. There was
easy one.
Yeah, his back nine of the final round was pretty ridiculous. Especially when like I said, I was comparing him to me, and it was just night and day difference that day. And I believe his hole 14, he kind of was a little bit out of position. He juiced his forehand a little bit left of the basket, so he had to contend with this juniper tree / bush. And he took his time, that's for sure. But he drained a putt from probably like 28 feet. And I just looked at his demeanor, and he looked like a monster in the best possible way. Just like you could tell, like I'm back. And it just made me think, I was like, oh boy, this guy is, he's the real deal. And then he proceeded to throw literally the perfect shot on hole 15. I think he threw a DD3, hyzer flip, just 630 feet. Then threw a little FD3 forehand to the basket for an easy eagle. Just, I mean, he's the world number one for a reason. Like, he put on a show. Let's just put it that way.
Speaking of that, did you guys hear his little clip on the Jomez podcast? I mean,
about Ricky?
That is unbelievable. All right, Simon, for context, basically Gannon said on the All Birdies, No Bogeys pod, he basically said that over the course of the years, more than 3 times, Ricky has come up to him in round when he's winning and basically told him straight to his face, dead serious, that he's winning because he's getting lucky. First of all, I don't put that past Ricky at all. That doesn't surprise me, but
Ricky should look in the mirror.
My goodness. That is... I couldn't believe... I'm surprised Gannon chose to say that. There's no way Rick's not going to see that. And if there wasn't a rivalry now, I remember when Gannon first started beating Ricky was kind of like the big brother, he was stoked. And then after about 5 of those in 2024, he was like, all right, that's no fun anymore. But there hasn't ever been any sort of 2016 Macbeth Wysocki type things where Paul said, he always chokes at the end and then he drained the big putt and invented raptor legs at Daylaw. There hasn't been that between Ricky and Gannon, but I think we just got it. I think we just got the start because Gannon did not have to say any of that. And he knows that by saying that, there's no way that Ricky doesn't find out either. So, very interesting. Simon, who did you play with?
All the top guys are just the luckiest. We all know that.
Anybody who wins, they've had they played well, but they also had their fair share of lucky breaks.
Oh, we've been there. It's true.
Yeah.
There's no denying it.
It's great. It's so much fun when you get lucky. I love it.
Eagle, I was also going to say that I followed your card for 4 or 5 holes the final round, and Dallas Garber, my gosh, does he impress me with his backhand. He looks so buttery. It's just, I was impressed how he finished well, and
yeah,
he looks confident.
I would say, be on the lookout for him. I would say he is a strong candidate for the number one, newcomer to the tour to look out for.
Can he win Rookie of the Year, or has he played too many events already? That would be an interesting question.
I don't know how that works because I know he's been playing in Oregon and beating Scott Withers a bunch.
Yeah, I remember when he was 14 and he played Portland Open in 2021. I would say absolutely, if he's eligible, he would be my front runner for Rookie of the Year.
He's good. He's really good.
Simon, who did you play with? Who impressed you?
Yeah, I was thinking nothing really jumped out at me, but I guess Zach Nash is a pretty easy one to pick as well. Like, after AB, he might have the most impressive backhand distance. Like, it just looks different when he throws. It's like a freaking... I don't want to take Albert's name away, but bazooka comes to mind. Just like so strong, and I mean, it all just looks like a force. And I mean, he makes it look easy at the same time too.
It's like Mason Ford, but distance forward.
Distance forward.
I mean, is pummel a word?
Yes.
Pomelo?
He pummels the disc.
Oh,
That's how I would say it.
Yep. He's insane. I imagine the RPMs are nuts. Eagle, do you have any knowledge of your average forehand RPM? Because somebody asked Chandler on my first round card, and I would say for RPMs, I would say I have a good forehand, like high 800s, and I played Ultimate. Like, I get a lot of spin. Chandler was like, yeah, 1,100, 1,200 RPMs. What? What?
I
That's a
haven't messed
backhand.
around with a tech disc enough to really say.
Yeah.
But a good metric is if you're able to like forehand flippy stuff, right?
Yeah.
Because the more RPMs, like I'd say my RPM's pretty high because if I need to, I can like forehand and ascend or something pretty flippy and get it to like act kind of stable.
I think that's something that your beginner disc golfer doesn't understand, which is that if you and me were to throw the same disc at the same power and you threw with more RPMs and I threw with less, your disc would be more overstable. And that's why guys like Germ and Sexton, they throw really, like Germ throws like sidewinders. I mean, because if you put wobble on that disc, I think maybe a great example would be Calvin. Like when he first started practicing forehands, it was overstable stuff because he wobbled it so bad that he needed something to handle that kind of off-axis torque. And as his wrist has improved its dexterity and its strength, and he's gotten more and more and more comfortable with the reps of that little whip, he has downgraded off of the big destroyers, and now he's throwing, I think he even throws a 168 star Wraith for his forehand distance shots now, and that's because he's adding RPMs.
Simon must have a ton of RPMs.
World records, I would say.
Do you have a wine? Or a shine or a dine?
No, I have a question.
Oh.
Ooh.
All right, so a couple of weeks ago, the PDGA reached out to me, giving me a 1-day warning of Champions Cup signups ending. So shout out PDGA for that reminding text. And I tried to sign up. It wouldn't let me because I was not a certified official anymore. For those that don't know, every player on tour or in PDGA majors has to be a certified rules official, which means we have to do this test on the PDGA website that asks you 25 questions, and I believe you have to get 20 correct to pass.
80%.
80%.
And it's kind of like your driver's license test. Similar kind of style questions. Some of them are, in my opinion, completely ridiculous.
Didn't you fail that test when you were getting your driver's license in Massachusetts?
Yes. Have I never told
Yeah, you
that
failed your
story?
driver's license test and then you drove home. There was something pretty ironic about it.
Yes. Absolute legendary story.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway, so I did the test real quick. It was like I was in bed. It was like 10 p.m. I did it without a book. And I got 24 of 25 questions correct. I'm going to read you the question I got wrong. And I want to see if you guys know the answer. And you guys can guess what you think I guessed, which obviously
So
was not
it's
the
multiple
right
choice,
answer.
right? Yeah, they are multiple
There's 4
choice.
answers.
Yeah.
Yes. All right, so the question goes, your group has been laughing and joking the whole round. As you're reporting scores on the teapot of the next hole and cracking up about something one of you said, everyone realizes that a player who parked their drive on the prior hole never actually putted. What now? Option A. The player has intentionally withdrawn from competition by failing to complete the hole. Option B. The player has neither finished the round nor thrown on the next hole, so they must go back and complete the hole without penalty. C. The player must add 1 throw for completing the hole, plus 2 penalty throws to the number of throws they made on the hole. Option D. The player has omitted the hole and receives a score of par plus 4.
My gut tells me it's the last one.
What does Eagle's gut tell him?
It has to be. Because if you missed hole 1 and you show up on hole 2, you get par plus 4 for hole 1 and you start playing.
I don't think you're allowed to do that though, because
What do you mean? Oh, you in the middle of your round?
yeah. Because
So
what
is
if
it just
what if you-
diabolical
what if-
option
what
A?
if-
You're just
yeah,
you're just
because
out of the
what if
tournament?
what if the weather sucks so bad, and you're just like, you know what, screw it. I'm just gonna take par plus 4 because it's gonna probably be better than what I get anyway.
Brilliant move.
Dang.
Gosh, I'm gonna say the rules have been kind of brutal. I'm gonna say option 1.
I think I gotta change my guess. I mean, I'll for competition's sake, I'll stay with mine. But I agree with you, Eagle.
Okay. You are both incorrect. I guess I'll just share. Joey, I also picked what you said, option D, which was you receive par plus 4. But I think Eagle's reasoning makes sense that
Yep.
doesn't make sense.
Yep.
The correct answer is actually option B. They must go back and complete the hole without penalty.
What?
That is the
can
correct
just
answer
go-
to this situation.
The chillest, most friendly answer.
That was probably the last answer I would have guessed.
No kidding.
Oh my gosh. Because usually the way, whenever I take the rules test, like they write it in such a way that that's always the wrong answer. Like
Yes.
the most relaxed answer is always like the wrong one in that instance.
I mean, think of the Mando rule. Like, if the Mando, like that stupid roll pass and then roll back behind the Mando line is like, that's a PDGA type of rule, you know, where you're just like, what in the world? This just seems like too cool to be a PDGA rule. But maybe it's because they've got Phil Delaunay up there. I'm sure it wasn't him who made it. I'm sure they have a whole rules committee with people that I probably know their names, but I couldn't specify them here. So
There were-
interesting.
There were new questions that I've seen for the first time, and I've done this questionnaire at least a handful of times through the careers, but there were some questions that were formulated like this. They were stating a scenario, kind of like this one, and then under what section in the rule book can you read about this rule? Like, that's how the question was asked. And then you have to know which paragraph in the rule book states this kind of rule. Like, I thought that was absolutely a ridiculous thing to ask.
Yeah, but that's when your average test taker just goes to the next tab where they have their rule book pulled up and they just scroll down until they find it and click back over.
I mean, yeah, of course.
That's not the Simon way.
But, I mean, that just shows that they literally want you to do this test with a rule book in hand.
Yeah. Did you
So
guys
you
go
can do
to
it and then immediately forget.
Exactly.
Did you guys go to or participate in either of or any of the updated rules seminars last week?
I did.
Would you give me the cliff notes? Because I was not there.
Oh gosh, I barely paid attention. Like, I basically, okay, let me think long and hard. It was a lot of like, the interesting one is the time, and the benefit no longer goes to player. That was actually never in the rule book. So, like, for example, this past week, I was playing with Isaac, Chris Dickerson, and Gannon, and a hole 9. Isaac, he throws and hits up near the basket. He kicks down, and he is in the relief area. His disc is absolutely as close as possible to being back in the whatever you call it, non-relief area, standard rules area. Like so close that you couldn't really make the call. But I thought, me personally, that it was touching the non-relief area, so the side closer to the tee pad. Chris thought it was too close to call, and then Gannon couldn't really make up his mind. Andrew, one of the people who works for the Pro Tour, was a marshal. He looks at it, and he didn't even really know what to say. He thought it was touching the non-relief area, so standard playing area. We sit there, and then, like, I guess it was third card behind us was, like, waiting and couldn't figure out what to do. We couldn't make up our mind. And the thing is like, usually be like a tiebreaker because Isaac could lobby for a shot. You're not allowed to lobby for your shot anymore.
Nope.
So it's only like Chris, Gannon, and myself are the people who are supposed to make the call.
Let's say this. You can lobby for your shot, but you don't get a vote anymore. You're allowed to say what you think happened, but you're not allowed to have a vote. That's what the marshal on hole 1 told me. He said, you're allowed to say what you think happened, but after that, you are not allowed to influence any discussion. And all the other 3 players have the 3 votes. But from what I understood, it didn't prevent the player who threw the shot from saying anything at all.
Mm-hmm.
Did someone call Evan of this scenario? I feel like Evan was our marshal on the card because I was on lead card. And he got a phone call like in the middle of our round asking about some OB rule that they couldn't make a call on some line.
I think Andrew might have called him. Yeah, he did.
So that's what happened. And then we had a freaking backup on that hole. That's what happened.
Yeah, seriously. It was so it ended up being that Isaac took it at the top because it was too close to call, and we kind of reverted back to the notion of benefit goes to the player. I think that's a better rule because it moves things along. And disc golf is just full of unlucky scenarios, so if it's close, you should probably get the call. That's my personal opinion, even though, for example, if hypothetically the relief area was out of bounds, I would have called Isaac inbounds by touching into the standard area. So with that rationale, I thought he was touching down below and should have putted up. So it was like it was just ridiculous that it could ever be that close. It's like simulation style because it didn't even make sense. But yeah, that's why there was a backup there, and it was an instance of like people not really knowing how to call it, because do we call like benefit goes to player, or do we need to like duke it out with each other to like make sure we get the right call by talking it out, because everyone had slightly different viewpoints on the scenario.
Yeah, well, unfortunately for myself, I had plenty of those moments come up in my rounds because I went out of bounds a lot. So I would basically, the way I went about it is I would go and point out my disc to my card mates, and I would say, this is where the disc is, like wherever it was out of bounds. And then I would just say, and then I wouldn't even lobby at that point. I just say, where do you guys think? That was like my standard protocol. And I like that there's 3 now, so there's never going to be a tie on votes. I think that's nice.
Mm-hmm.
But so time extensions and that OB rule, were those the 2 big items?
Those were the main 2. There was a bunch of other like small stuff that I literally forgot. But before I want to go to bed soon, but what was your guys' experience with the time rules? Did they come into play at all? What are your thoughts?
You know, when you're in 90th in a tournament, like whether or not it's right, everyone just checks out. Nobody's calling anyone on anything unless they have to. Nobody wants to be there. Like, we didn't have any time extension. There was one person use a time extension one time. It might have been Chandler even. No, but I'm sure with you guys both played, or you played with Gannon. So I wonder if he was using it.
He used one. He
And
said he
you
used
get
one.
two.
You get two. So the way I think it's going to go, this is just enabling people to take as much time as they want. I think it's going to be very rare that people even call people on time anymore, from the vibe I got. Because me personally, like, the way I think about time now is like I still try to move along, but I don't feel rushed anymore, because if somebody calls a time extension on me, then okay, whatever, I have one more left, and that's like a wake-up call. But like most of the time, like, you're gonna probably call it on yourself, and then once you call a time extension, unless you got somebody who's like really timing you, like a marshal or whatever, which I guess could happen, you're not gonna like, I don't feel like you're gonna be under that much scrutiny by your fellow competitors. At least that's not what the feeling I got when I was out in the course. Therefore, I think Simon talked about it earlier. There should just be no time rule.
Yeah, I heard twice at least time extension called, and I called it once myself. For myself. I didn't really understand if we're supposed to call extension for ourselves or just call it on others once we think they took too much time.
Both.
Or do we announce our time extension that we're going to take it?
Yes.
Or both is possible.
So if you're like, no, you're kind of lagging behind, like say you're from the fairway and you're not getting into position, you just say, guys, I'm going to use a time extension. Or like, you could not say anything and nobody could call you on it and get away with it. But in theory, people are supposed to say, okay, Simon, you took way too much time. We're going to mark you down for a time extension. And it doesn't need to be seconded. It can just be whoever saying, like, you took too long, I'm giving you a time extension.
Whoa. So that's the warning as well as something you can self-police.
Yes. And people, there doesn't need to be a second. And once you have two time extension, 2 strikes, third one, you're out.
But
It's
now it's all fairway shots
Disqualified.
are 45 seconds, right? All non-tee shots are 45 seconds, right?
So it's shots from the fairway.
Yeah.
Inside circle 2 is 30 seconds. So tee shots and inside circle 2 and circle 1 is 30 seconds.
Okay. So if you're not on the tee box or the green, you have 45 seconds now.
Yes.
And your extension gives you an additional 45?
30.
30. Okay, so
Yeah.
all right.
Wow, I got it all wrong then.
That's why we covered it right here. All right. The last thing I want to do is read this one email that we got sent because I thought it was hilarious.
Let's do it.
And it is about Powerball. It was from, let's see, John Burns. Gents, hear me out on this. I haven't heard this discussed at all. Maybe it has been. But in the spirit of Powerball, I think the Tour and Powerball should do a second chance sweepstakes at the end of each tournament. It wouldn't cost a ton of money, and it would get to bring an extra layer or small spectacle to disc golf and attention to Powerball. Powerball needs to bring their ball drawing machine to set up to these events. Everyone who didn't cash is entered into the second chance sweepstakes. Let's say places 50 to 100 didn't cash. and then the machine will draw 5 of those balls, and the pros who placed in those spots get the same money as last cash. The 6th and last number drawn, which is the Powerball, has a different multiplier added to it from 1 to 5, just like a real game. Whatever place that lands on gets last cash times the multiplier. Some version of this I think would be interesting. What do you think? I think Powerball would be interested to hear that idea. I think they would like that.
That sounds amazing.
That sounds unbelievable. That would be hilarious.
I like it. Just without really thinking about it, it sounds awesome. Maybe the more I think about it, the less I'll like it, though. We'll see.
I like it because of how well it integrates Powerball into the tour. Like, that is a really solid way to attach your brand with the drawing. And if you create that as like a tour staple, I mean, that's hilarious. Anyway, John, thanks for that email. Thanks, everyone, for listening. I'm going to have Eagle send us out after a quick announcement that I wanted to say that thanks to OTB for supporting this amazing show.
OTB.
We are not too far away from otb.com/crushedpepper, but while you're waiting, otb.com/eagle already exists. otb.com/joey is on its way. But you got pictures of every disc. They do all the specs. They're probably the best people on the planet, and they're supporting our show. So head on over to OTB Discs and check out Eagle's page while you're waiting for our pages to get up.
Yeah, you can use code TOUREAGLE for the whole month of March and get free shipping at checkout. How crazy is that?
It's pretty great. Well, Simon,
Episode name?
Soul Crushing.
So
Also,
Soul Crushing Holes?
That, or I was thinking Back to School.
Back to Soul Crushing.
Simon, you choose.
Back to Shul.
It's not bad.
But what about Back to Stool?
Back to Stool.
That's even better.
Is that just as a description of your week?
Yes.
I mean, if you feel comfortable with that, then I
Back
am
to
fine.
Stool.
I am fine to let that happen.
Let's do it. Back to
All right,
Stool.
Eagle, send us out.
Thank you guys so much for watching and listening. And we will be back together in person next week at the Big Easy, Louisiana, New Orleans. It's going to be a great time. We'll be down in the bayou. And now we say bye to you. Until next time, keep on dreaming. And peace!
Bye you and bye to you. That was pretty good.